Hey, this is Zacklog the Great. So, a few months ago, I was walking through a mall in a major U.S. city, and it struck me as I was, walking through this as we were, visiting the various stores, that maybe one in four, maybe even just one in five of the people around me were white. I understand this kind of thing is actually fairly common in big cities in the United States, and in a lot of white countries. And it's a very strange thing to notice because if you even notice this, if you even see this and say something out loud, you're considered kind of weird. And if you object to it in any fashion, you're just a horrible, mean spirited, hateful person. But I mean, you might ask, why does this matter? Why would anyone object to this? Well, I mean, for one thing, you know, and I realized this again as I was walking through, any one of these people, of the people here, um, any one of the non-white people there, um, could, out of nowhere, for any reason or none, um, accuse me of, racist harassment. On either on social media or somehow manufacture an event and get police involved and absolutely wreck my life, and get me, probably fired and ostracized with zero evidence, with zero wrongdoing on my part. I mean, look at what happened to the teenage boys from Covington Catholic School. You know, a group of mostly white young men weren't doing anything wrong, minding their own business. A small group of black men starts shouting vicious, absolutely nasty insults at them. And, they just, again, try to mind their own business, try to ignore this. And then this, American Indian, comes up, gets right in the face, like, a foot from the face of one of these young men, banging a drum, and someone records it, and all of a sudden they are made criminals. And there are literally people on social media, well-known, famous, wealthy people, calling for their blood. And what did they do? Existed, and they were white. And I mean, you look at our education system, you look at how history is taught, and uh, I mean, all you have to do is listen to young people these days, and to realize that the only history they hear about us is a history of shame and oppression and slavery and genocide and how horrible white people are. One observer of this, somewhat ironically, an immigrant to the United States herself, said that, you know, In this fashion, our education looks like what a conquering nation would impose upon the vanquished. And our entertainment is turned into propaganda against us. White men are repeatedly cast as soulless monsters against whom various virtuous minorities must struggle. Or if you want to see a slightly more innocent version in advertising, white men are bumbling idiots, and there are always these wonderful, helpful non-whites around to help people out, because that's how the world works. And if you want examples of this, the Bird Box, I believe, is one of the most obvious. The recent movie with what's her name? Anyway, or the recent Purge movies, and you can see this playing out over and over. And if you want to see someone really go through this, I would suggest checking out the YouTube channel Black Pilled. I'll put a link in the show description. You can wander over there, see what he has to say. Um, our even our legal system, prefers everyone else to white people. Laws are not enforced against illegal immigrants, and the city of Denver, Colorado, just 2 years ago, actually decriminalized uh, defecating in the streets because they didn't want that kind of offense to be used to deport illegal immigrants. If I have to let you shit in our streets in order to keep you here, I don't know. I don't think picking our tomatoes is sufficient justification for that. You better be curing cancer and, building us flying cars and, creating the greatest works of art since Leonardo da Vinci all at the same time, I think, to make that worth it. And from schooling to all kinds of jobs, non-whites benefit from quotas and privileges, legal all over the place, that would be they viciously prosecuted if these same things were turned to benefit whites. And you look at this picture, you look at all of these things, and you realize that white people in America, in a lot of European countries, we live as a conquered people. That's kind of the bad news. But there is good news. The good news is that we were not conquered by arms. We were not militarily defeated. Um, we were defeated psychologically and spiritually. We were told lies, and we accepted them, and we internalized them. And that the good news about that is, if we change, if we choose to reject those lies, we can win quite easily. And it's up to us. So what does that mean? That means rejecting the demands of the left, of the anti-white side, reject their standards. Reject the term racism and racist. It doesn't mean anything, and stop giving it power by pretending it does. There's nothing wrong with a white person loving himself, loving his family, loving our history. I mean, we have accomplished amazing things, and there's nothing at all wrong with recognizing that and honoring that. And yes, we've done terrible things too, but if you look at history, everything white people did wrong, everyone did. You know, wars, genocide, colonization, everyone who has had the opportunity has done those kind of things at some point. But the biggest things white people did right, no one has ever done anything like that. And, you know, our accomplishments in science and the arts and exploration, it's amazing. We have a fantastic history behind us, and if we choose, we can have a fantastic future ahead of us. We do not have to live as a conquered people. That is a choice. God be with you.